Welcome to the Whiskey Chasers, where we talk about our passion for whiskey and its history, either amongst ourselves or while interviewing distilleries, all while enjoying a glass. I'm Steve.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Chris.
Please enjoy responsibly while enjoying this week's episode of the Whiskey Chasers.
So I presented this idea to Steve, and what cracks me up is what I had in mind, no one went with. And what I love about that is the idea that it goes along with all the bottles that we have. Everything is subjective to the person that hears it and goes, oh, I have this idea. Or tries the whiskey and goes, ooh, I have this memory. Or this reminds me of this.
Or sometimes when you hear their reasoning behind it, then all of a sudden it makes sense.
Right, yeah. So I came to Steve and I was like, look, for Christmas, we'll do what's our favorite for the year past of what we did. For New Year's, I think it'd be really cool to do what do we predict or foresee for the future? Like for this year.
What do we hope for?
Right. That's part of the predicting of like, what do we hope for? Because part of your prediction is like, man, I'm really hoping that it's this, but I'm going to say the confidence of predicting that it's going to be this, right?
I might be able to predict something, but that's not what I hope for, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
I can wish for something. It's New Year's, right?
Right, exactly. So I had this idea in mind, and the idea was, what brands do we see in the year 2026 coming, like really coming out with some crazy stuff that people need to look out for, or we think that they're going to be making moves that no one else is going to be watching for. But do we catch the train now, or do we let it ride out? Right? The idea of like,
I told you so.
Yes, yeah. Like, what would that look like? But what's interesting is, as I told that to Steve, I was like, that's what everyone's going to come to the table with. And I'm pretty sure that I'm the only one that came to the table with that idea. And I love that.
Yeah, kind of. Mine's more about what I want to see. Probably not going to happen.
Which
So
I love.
All three of us have different versions of this prompt.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Which is fitting because that's been us this entire. Well, we're going into year 6 now, right?
Yeah.
So like that's us for this entire.
We're not going to change now.
Podcast, right?
No.
And like. You'd think like maybe we get on the same page for one thing, but no. But that's what works.
Can't change who we are.
Right. You can't change.
Can't deny who we are.
We're never on the same page, but we're reading the same book.
That's right.
That's
That's
what this is right here.
Most of the time we get it. Yeah.
We are never on the same page.
We like very few times are we like I just don't. I'm not even understanding where you're coming from.
We're normally reading the same book, just on a very different page from each other.
I got excited watching you open that bottle. I just love it. Like it's like whether I'm the one opening it or not, I want to see a bottle getting opened.
Yeah. Opening a bottle is
It's
just
just-
a great view.
Yeah, it's like you ever seen those videos where people are like unboxing things? They should do videos of just people opening bottles. I'd watch it.
You do realize I have yet to open. Well, I take that back. Last Saturday, I finally opened one bottle from our trip to Pennsylvania for the podcast. This is the second bottle that I've opened. Everything else has been I've
Still
had them
sealed
tucked
up.
away and sealed
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
It's a busy time of year.
Well, it's for a good reason too, you know, like it's
Saving it back.
yeah, I'm trying to save it for a reason. The liquor cabinet at the end of the stairs has become the duplicate bottle or the unopened bottle.
I like
So
it.
I don't really touch it.
It's out of
locked.
sight, out of mind,
Yep,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And in the right moment, I'll pull it out and I'll open it.
New Year's. Can you believe it? 2026.
2026.
Wow.
25 flew by
It really did kind
in a
of.
weird way. Yeah. It was a weird year.
Like when you think about like there's some things that stick out and you're like, oh, that, but then there's a lot of it that move fast, it's strange when you think about how certain things are slow and certain things are fast.
Looking back at 2025, you had a kid.
I had my third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your third
It's a
kid.
big year. Yeah.
That's a pretty big year,
It's
you know?
a big year, but yeah. And like I said, there's some things that are just like, wow, was that this year or last year? And like so fast, right? And there's some things that were like, no, that was a big deal. That took a while to get through or many sleepless nights or something like that. A lot of big changes.
We had a lot
For everybody.
a lot of big changes in 2025.
Just
Yeah.
makes you think. That's what I was thinking about this time of year is like, what is next year going to bring? Like, you just don't know. Like, it could be a lot. It could be a little. It could be a big growing year, but nothing happens. Or it could be the other way around.
For me, 2025 was a hurry up and wait year. It was we got all the work done for like licensing and everything for the adoption stuff. So so now we got our license and everything is good, and now we're just waiting. So now we're just waiting for a kid to show up. So now it's just hurrying up and getting all that stuff done.
It's weird how it's so hard to do nothing.
Yeah, it is the
Yeah.
worst.
It's like so hard. Like
the
to
first half
just
of the
do
year,
nothing.
I was like, this is good. I got a checklist. I got stuff to do. Now the checklist is done. Now it's just waiting around.
And it's not like you can create another checklist on top of that.
No,
Like, I gotta fill the time.
There really isn't a whole lot extra to do.
We already checked it twice.
Right? Yeah,
Gotta find out.
Yeah, I haven't found out if they're not you're nice yet. So, but yeah, and I'm in school and everything, and that's been like flying. But I'm still in the hurry up phase of that. The wait part is coming later, but it's still hurrying up through that one. But it was like a year of doing a lot of stuff, but without the reward at the end. I'm still climbing the mountain, but I haven't gotten to the peak yet. So it was a year of that, which is still nice. It's still I enjoy the journey, which is good.
But there's a lot of anticipation.
But there's a lot of anticipation building. So it's like, man, so now I'm like, in the next couple of years, big things are going to happen. It's just a matter of waiting
then
for that to happen.
You're gonna want it to slow down.
Exactly,
And it's
yeah.
just gonna go faster.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not. It's not really climbing a mountain. It's clicking up a mountain on a roller coaster.
No,
So-
it's that thing in Gatlinburg where it just have you seen that, like the thing that goes up the side of the mountain and it's like click.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is.
Like the ski lift
What
kind
is
of
that
thing or
ski lift
whatever.
thing
Yeah.
or whatever it's called, or in the St. Louis, have you ever gone up the arches?
Oh, the
It's
arch,
St.
yeah,
Louis.
You're right.
It's like, okay, I'm glad I'm moving, but we are going pretty slow. Yeah,
Right.
it's taking quite a while.
I guess we're getting
Yeah.
somewhere.
A lot of
Yeah.
anticipation.
Right. And like you said, predictions, those went out the window a long time ago. And no, you never know what's going to happen. But
Oh,
we're
I
going to
do.
try.
Oh,
We're going to try and talk about.
I haven't lost hope in predictions,
Talk
guys.
Yeah.
Nick is a predictions kind of guy.
Don't worry. I'm still making predictions.
I have yet to lose hope in predictions.
I've just decided they're going to not work out.
I find a way to make it work. I'm like,
Most of
guys,
the time, if it doesn't work out the way you planned, that's
Yeah.
a good thing.
It's all right. It still
Right.
works out.
We always think
It's
that
right.
the way we planned it's right, but very seldom am I like,
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
spot on.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it turned out this way.
Yeah. So, Nick, your original plan was distilleries are going to take off. What distillery is going to take off?
So I had so the idea was I'm going to bring a bottle out of the distilleries. I think I'm going to narrow it down to one, which is really hard to do, guys. If you think about it, my terms, but
You
I
actually
don't want to
you
predict.
followed the
Yeah,
instructions.
I did.
So
I
you have the
followed.
hardest job.
It was my own instructions, I guess. Kind of hard not to follow them. But I looked at like all craft, right? Big names are always going to find something to try to take off with, and they're going to come out with Eagleware coming out with 12 year. Like it's just stupid at that point. But I looked at Liberty Pole, I looked at Wiggle, and I looked at New Holland Brewing. Those are like the three that we've had on the podcast, like either bottle or interview. They looked at and went, man, those are the companies I think are going to, the craft distilleries that need to be watched out for. They're going to really take off. But then I had to narrow it down to one. And I narrowed it down to Liberty Pole, which I feel like that's kind of not a cop out, but like,
No, but it makes sense.
It makes
'cause
sense.
I think we all thought about it, right?
and it was so hard because it came down to Wiggle and Liberty Pole because both of them, the desire to want to push and to be pushed.
Want to be on that edge.
Yeah, like
are
they
close to
want
kind
that.
of spreading their wings and really taking off.
and preparing for something more. The fact that they have a 5-story Liberty Pole has a 5-story rick house.
They got everything. They got everything in place. They just need to start moving into different states and whatnot.
Everything in place to start letting things grow, and they've done everything right. They have tried everything right. I was kicking myself in the rear that I couldn't take off the Wednesday before Thanksgiving to go get the bottles, the finished bottles, because they were just so different and so good and so unique. The whole combination of that is really hard to find. But it's also why I sit here and I go, they are the ones to watch. I feel like this year they're the ones to watch out for. I don't think that they believe that they'll be making moves in the whiskey world, but I think that they'll be making moves.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to get their hopes up, but I like you said, there's very seldom do you see somebody do all the right things to make all the right steps, and finally that's coming to fruition. Like it's really kind of like they're starting to put out like some high rage stuff. What they do have is fine tuned. They're still innovating. They got, like you said, the Rick House. They
they've moved and just built that Rick House, and that's going to be.
They got
and
everything that they need in place.
Makes it so that they can
Yeah.
put out some numbers.
Really, all they need to do, their next big push is just, and what they're already kind of working on it, but getting into other states and stuff.
Right.
Like
Yeah, they got their Ohio stuff in order, so that they'll be in Ohio sometime this year in 2026.
it's a matter of getting people in other states to try their stuff, and once they do, they're set. But sometimes things sit on shelves and just never get tried.
Right.
That's where really like what you do, Steve, comes in.
Yeah.
Like they had people that are ambassadors
yeah.
or something that
I
were like
already
opening
told them
bottles for
when
people.
they're in Ohio.
Let me know.
Add me
Yeah.
to the payroll.
Yeah.
I will gladly do
Well,
tastings.
once people
for them.
try their stuff and hear a little bit, they're going to be sold. But there's many bottles that sit on a shelf, never tried. Then they wind up in Ohio. They wind up on the last call shelf. We don't want that to happen.
And I think the other thing that the other solidifying idea in my mind of like, this is why they'll be the ones to look out for is we're big Scotch guys. Somehow, some
I
way,
know what you
shape, or
got.
form. I have their peated rye. And I tried their peated bourbon before the podcast even went there. And I was like, that's okay. But then on the podcast, they brought out the single barrel peated bourbon. And till this day, I'm like, I want that bottle because it tells a story of somehow in America, we found a way to take peat, mix it with our product, and get this idea of Scotch where each region has a different flavor. Each region changes based off of what you use. We do it with the different mash bill, but somehow they created this way of being able to do it where everyone else is like, it's too much peat, or I don't know, like that's gonna not be good.
Yeah, the idea of taking something that's so amazing and historically like long as Scotch, but then making it wholly American.
While
That is
still
such a cool
retaining
mix,
yeah.
like 100% American, but kind of and not stealing from, but taking from something is legendary as Scotch.
I think what excites me the most about that is I looked at American single malt as that idea. Like we're taking our jab at malt whiskey, right?
Yeah, that's almost comping though.
It's
A little-
it's
a
almost
little bit,
copying. Whereas this, what they have
It's more
done,
like taking aspects but making it still.
it's adding, yeah,
wholly
it is,
American. It's
yeah.
adding to what
it's
we
adding
do.
to what is already
It's more of a
there.
nod
Yes,
of respect versus like a copy.
Yep.
Not I don't want to say copycat in a bad way, but like imitation is a highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
That's what American single malt is. It's imitation.
Yeah, it's 100% barley. It's really taking more of an Irish look at things and playing around with stuff a little bit Scotch-like, but kind of more Irish-like, honestly. But yeah, but like when we talked to Wiggle and them kind of really hammering in the regionality of it and stuff, I think American Single Malt does have maybe a future in
But
that
with
way.
the peated bourbon,
But-
peated rye. What
But
a cool
peated
concept.
yeah,
right. But they take it to another step where they're like, we're not ashamed or afraid of the peat level.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you Scotch level peat.
But with
Well,
this American,
with
With the
American,
bourbon, yeah.
Everyone else, I mean, we've had peated bourbon from other places, and it's like, man, it's good. You can taste a hint. It's there. Like you really got to look for
Yeah.
it. And
No,
here
Liberty
you're like, you don't
Pole
have to
is-
look for it.
yeah.
It's like it's there. It's
No,
in your face.
Yeah, it's not.
but somehow you smell it. And you're like, ooh, wow, oh, okay, that's there. And you try it, and you're like, okay, I'm not
It's
offended. Like I'm
something
there
to get behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I get really excited for Liberty Pole. Like, this idea of like, I think they're ones to watch out for this coming year. I think they can really
they got a lot going for them.
they could really take off.
They're still
Yeah.
innovating. They got it's like full steam ahead for them.
Yeah.
I think.
And they've got the passion behind it to want to innovate, to want to be challenged. I mean, just think of the 3 that they had sitting out the barrel, the finishings. Like,
When you throw in the fact that they're such a strong family, I'm always going to bet on. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm always going to bet on a strong family, to win out.
well, even when we were there, do you guys remember what they were putting in the barrel?
the cherry bounce.
The cherry bounce. Do you remember what they're going to do with the barrel once the bounce is out?
They're going to finish something in
Yeah,
it.
they're going to finish rye in a rye barrel that's been used for cherry bounce.
I love the concept of that because it's only going to get more and more
right.
not complicated, more and more compounded. That's the word. Like they're just going to keep compounding flavors until they're like, I love that. Yeah. But
They
so,
remind
yeah,
me of a young journeyman.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
but
Yeah.
with but with a different sort of
Yes.
twist. Like I
Yep.
love Journeyman for a lot of different aspects. If you listen to the podcast, a lot of them we talk about, but Liberty Pole for me has, a lot of other aspects that I appreciate as well, and they both have a cool, unique history, but, one's more, I don't know, obviously the one's more petty, which I love that Journeyman in a good way, but the other one's a lot more like, I don't want to say American, but it is, but it's also like just family, heritage, roots, and like, that's the thing that like Journeyman's got like, we're in this factory and it's cool and all this stuff. And I love that. But with Liberty Pole, it's like, we really like where we're from. And we want to, like you see it with the Monongahela, and then you see it with they love where they're at. They love their city, they love their people and their fans. So for those aspects, again, it's like different things that I appreciate about them separately, but very similar about how I feel about them as a whole.
I feel like there's not very many that you find that with. Like that's just fun.
That's why we're craft boys. Dude.
Yeah,
that's
that's
we need to
fair.
make like
Yeah.
a shirt. Like we're the craft
We're
boys.
the craft boys. Yeah.
Craft boys. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I get excited anytime I see Liberty Pole or I talk about it. Obviously, you made a good choice, Nick. Okay, so
All right,
next,
Chris.
me. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
you're
Now wait,
next.
because I
Yeah.
want to smoke.
I was gonna
anyhow.
say, you
I've been
guys have to
waiting
pick your
over
tobacco,
here
too.
to smoke, but I'll talk about the whiskey.
I'll just keep talking. So
I'll talk about the whiskey first. So I took your direction to be more like, what do you hope for? So that's where I'm at. Obviously, I'm a big Canadian guy, so we're gonna throw some Canadian. I like to see more Canadian become more popular, but not just Canadian in general. What I am seeing with Canadian whiskey is a lot more heavily aged stuff, and it's actually starting to get a little bit more in-depth flavors, which I like to see as well. So I actually have a very special Canadian whiskey that you can't really get. Talk about that.
You can't.
Yeah.
Get it.
I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm just speaking to Canadian whiskey in general. I'd like to see, I've made this prediction before in the past. I don't know if it's ever going to work out. I'd like to see it because I'm selfish and I want to get more of this stuff. But I want to see some heavily aged Canadian whiskey with high proof. That's what I want to see. I'd like to see some of that. I'd like to see maybe more single barrel Canadian whiskey stuff because a lot of it's blended, I'd like to see some, like, let's dig deep into some Canadian whiskey, like, because I like the flavors of it. As far as Canada goes, I've never been there. I don't know. I don't know anything about Canada, but I like the whiskey. I like it, which is something that a lot of people aren't into.
Yeah.
I still think that it's kind of an untapped thing. Most of the time with Canadian whiskey, what you get is cheap mixer, whatever. But there are good, like this one, Canadian whiskeys out there. This one was a special gift from Nick, obviously. This was for...
Obviously.
Obviously.
He gives me the best.
I love the obviously. Obviously.
Because he gives me the best ones, man. But anyway, this one was for my third, right? Actually.
That was for June.
Yeah. And I got this, so it's been a few months. And this one's 34 years old.
I think this might be the only one we actually opened in the hospital.
Yeah.
The other ones we opened here at home.
I was going to say we actually have a photo of it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should add the photo. I don't know. But literally, she's like born. A couple hours later, we're popping this bottle. That's literally how we roll at this point in the hospital room. So 34 years old. This is a handy spot liquor. starting to become a theme, I guess, for me. I don't know.
He does good picks.
He does good picks. It's pretty cool. It's very limited. Very, very limited, obviously. Now, this is a Canadian whiskey, people. I want you to listen to this.
Pay attention.
149.80 proof. That's
Oh, wow.
insane.
Yeah.
And it's 34 years old. That's Canadian whiskey. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, 150 proof?
Yeah.
It does not drink like a Canadian. It's
This is called
fantastic.
Nashville Barrel Company. So, we did a little bit of, and this is a single barrel, by the way. So this is what I want to see. That's why I picked this bottle, besides its sentimental value. I want to see more of this stuff in the market. What's cool about Canadian whiskey is you are getting I've talked about this, you get a lot of bang for your buck because usually, now this one was probably crazy, but a lot of times you can get a Canadian whiskey around this, maybe not this proof point, but for decently priced compared to like what you imagine a 34-year-old bourbon. What the hell? That is not going to be cheap.
You're
know what I
talking
mean?
$500-600 at least.
More sometimes. Yeah. So Canadian whiskey, for what it is, you get a lot of bang for your buck. But this one is pretty cool, distilled in Canada. This is a Nashville company, but they source it. So, but it's a single barrel Canadian whiskey. Like Nick picked a perfect bottle for me. 34 years old, almost as old as I am. Jeez.
It was
think
on
about
purpose.
that.
Yeah.
He thought
Believe it or
about
not,
that.
2 years away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I was 2 years old and this thing was put in a barrel. And it's a single barrel.
So
it's so cool.
What's crazy to me is your idea isn't too far fetched because Canadian whiskey has so much to offer that Canada doesn't touch, and most American companies don't touch. What's the pig?
Whistlebig?
Whistlebig was
pig.
Canadian. Their idea was cheap to make a profit. Then you've got Pendleton out of Vermont. No, they're Pendleton's out of Utah, or Wyoming.
I think it's out of Wyoming. Whistlepig's out of Vermont.
Yeah, Whistlepig's out of Vermont. You've got companies that are bringing down Canadian whiskey for the cheap aspect. But when you don't take it cheap and you do this,
When you do it right.
holy cow.
Because what a Canadian is it's rye and it's got some sweet aspects to it. But the problem is they make so much of it, so mass produced that they just, it ends up being very cheap, underaged, underproof. When you take a Canadian like this and you put that much proof on it, like I'm tasting this right now, I'm just like, holy hell. Like you get so much flavor. It's still sweet. It's almost like a finishing at this point because the sweetness doesn't take over. When it's that high of proof, the sweetness is there, but it is not clawing. Like it is not.
It's like caramelizing
smothering me.
onions.
Yeah, it's not smothering me. Like so, because you get a lot of proof, you get a lot of rye, and you're still getting that sweetness. So for me, I like cognacs, I like finished whiskeys, but I still like my spice and I like my proof. It's all the things. It's all the things.
It's everything you want.
Yeah.
And more.
So I want to see more of this. This is what I'm hoping for in the future. I want to be able to, I want more of an option. When it comes to Canadian whiskey, I don't want to just go there and be like, blah, blah, blah. I want to see.
You don't want Crown Royal?
I don't mind. There's some Crown I like. We've talked about it. But
Like the
a lot of
chocolate?
it's junk. Yeah. I like the junk. Shut up. Gross. Actually, I haven't had chocolate.
I don't want to. I don't want
Pendleton's
to.
out of Oregon.
Oh,
by the way.
Oregon.
Just
That's what it
just
is. Okay.
clarify that, yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon.
But that'd be cool though, right?
Yeah.
See some Canadian whiskey that's like legit, like proud to be Canadian whiskey.
Right.
Like let's offer some products that you're not embarrassed about, right? Like you're not putting Canadian like Crown Royal on your freaking top shelf, right? So anyway, all that to be said, I'm gonna grab my pipe tobacco.
Yeah, what are you smoking with this?
I don't really know how it's gonna go. I have a feeling it's gonna go well because it is sweet. But I wanted to talk about this because this is actually what I'm going to be trying to smoke more of, not this specific one, but in 2026. What I want to do, this one surprised me. It's the most surprising tobacco I've had in a while. I don't know if you remember me opening this. Herm's going to love this if he's listening because it's Cornell and Deal Pennington Gap.
Oh, Pennington Gap. Yep.
And I remember opening this thing and being like, wow, I really did not expect to like this so much. And I can't remember if we opened that. I think it was this year.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I think it was. Mm-hmm.
It's so much like, kind of that Christmassy winter time, springtime a little bit, but really wintertime, Smoky Mountain kind of campfire or really like fireplace kind of a smell. It's an aromatic kind of, it's, kind of burley, kind of Virginia. It's got a lot of different aspects going on. But for me, it's not something I normally gravitate to, especially because it is a little bit more aromatic than some, but it does have Perique in it. You know what I mean? Which is kind of, it's the thing that surprised me the most. Like, oh, this actually has a little bit more spice than I thought it would. But I'm going to try to smoke more of this kind of stuff. And what I mean by this kind of stuff is surprising, like off-road. That's what it is. Because I do smoke a lot of like safe things, you know what I mean? And I have kind of taken a way back seat on English tobaccos. And I've been smoking a whole lot more non-English tobaccos. And it's been a long time since I've smoked more aromatic tobaccos. And again, this isn't aromatic, air quotes, but it is more aromatic. It's got some bourbon topping to it. But I think I might kind of go off-road this year. With pipe tobacco, I might be getting a little bit loose with it because this thing surprised the heck out of me. I remember popping this and being like, I'm not going to like it. Or it'll be okay. And I've smoked damn near this whole can.
It sounds pretty empty.
It sounds pretty empty.
Yeah. And I mean, this thing
Do you have
has
anything
been
left
really
in
good.
it?
No, and I want to get a lot more. Like this has become like there's probably, I could probably give you 10 or 15 tins that I'd be like, oh, I don't want to live without these. This has become one of those, which I can't believe that.
what's the aspect that you're like, I don't know that I would like this? Is it the more of the topping aromatic kind of feel?
Yeah. So I mean, they're calling it an all-American blend with a Southern accent. Right there, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like an aromatic. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like it's gimmicky? Is that what
No,
comes
not
to your mind?
gimmicky. When I think aromatic, I think Cornell and Dale is always quality. But when you get in aromatics, you're starting to get more into like, it's like flavored whiskey. Like, how well are they going to do it? You know what I mean? Is it going to be overpowered by some sort of weird thing? But when I was so nutty Q-cut burley, which I like, but then black Cavendish, which I don't typically smoke because again, it's a processed tobacco that is usually used in aromatics and when whatever. But then okay, they put some Louisiana Perique in here, which I'm cool with, and then finish with bourbon for a touch of Southern hospitality. So to me, this seems like it's been topped with a casing, or topped with a condiment that's going to make it more aromatic. I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought it was going to taste artificial, whatever it is. This is like real tobacco, through and through real tobacco with a good amount of spice. And the Cavendish is done right. Like it actually is, it's got some vanilla. It's got the bourbon in there. It smells amazing. It smokes. The flavor is really good. For me, it's kind of like sweet tea from the South. It's not fake. It's still got that real tea, but it's sweet. So again, for me, I think what I'm going to do in this year to come is maybe smoke a little bit more stuff that I've been kind of neglecting. But I still don't want it to be like aromatic, but I think I might go a little bit more wild with it than I have in the last couple years. I mean, just smell that. You just expect that to be more like, it smells like you want to eat it. And usually that doesn't translate to smoking, but they got it. They nailed it. Like Cornell and Dale nailed this one. Like it's become one of my favorite, like for this year, I've smoked a lot of it. It's become one of my favorite, like, blends of this year.
What's interesting, I think it's taken me a while to realize what it is. The smell of tobacco. I think one of the reasons why I like the stuff that you have isn't so much that it's aromatic or has this. My grandparents growing up, outside of my grandpa's like barn shed wood shop, he had it on the back side and off to like the right hand side. And there was a grave site that he helped take care of, right? It was right beside it. But they had, I don't know why, if my grandma made jam every year or what it was, but they always had more like wine grapes and on grapevines that hung on the back and on the side. And it was more muscadine kind of grape, but they did white and they did red. And that mixed with like the flowers from like fresh flowers from the gravesite, it's like that sweet floral.
Yeah. It's kind of boozy, kind of sour, kind of. That's what they have going on with the Perique. It's a little sour. And
that's what it reminds me of, like walking through that they had an archway that had the vines going up over you. And so like walking through that and smelling all the grapes and all the
kind of matured what's that word when when wine becomes alcoholic or grape juice fermented. Yeah. That's the word.
Yeah.
And I love that. I like fermented type stuff. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of like walking through that with like grandma and grandpa trying to get like pick off the grapes ready to go.
Yeah. And I just think it's surprising because I bought this tin, not really thinking anything about it. And it sat for a while. And then when we finally cracked it open, I just was kind of thrown back a little bit. Like I did not think that this was going to be such a powerhouse. And then the more and more I smoked it, I'm like, I love this. And it's one of the few tins that really smells, for me, fantastic. And smokes just like the taste is just as fantastic. Yeah. Like the room note on this thing or the car note, like when you come back to your car after you smoked in it, for me, that's a big thing. Like, God, it smells great in here. It's freaking fantastic. Yeah. So I'm going to smoke this and I'm going to drink this 34-year-old Canadian whiskey and I'm going to have a good time. Welcome 2026.
It's a good way of doing it.
Steve, what do you got going?
I took our prompt for this as things that I want to see within craft whiskey for the next year. So like, what am I aiming for? What do I want to see? So because of that, I took this bottle, which...
Have you had any of this? It doesn't look like you've opened it very much.
No, I cracked it for this.
Okay,
so, yeah,
okay.
I cracked it for this. And we're not going to talk a ton about this particular bottle.
It's like I cracked it and I don't know.
It's certainly not the best thing I've had, but it is a very young distillery. And so it's called Wood Hat Spirits.
Is it out of Missouri?
It's out of Missouri.
Okay.
And this is an 80 proof whiskey that is, it says on the back, it's aged at least 2 years in small barrels. So they're doing a small barrel kind of thing, but it's 80 proof and all that. So like The liquid inside is fine. There's nothing incredible about
It's kind of
this.
cloudy
It's
looking.
very cloudy. It's very cloudy.
Anybody in the club's like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. But it's not bad. It's just not a great bottle. But this is called an all-American whiskey, red, white, and blue corn. So this is made with red, white, and blue corn. It doesn't have a mash bill on it, but obviously it's a high corn mash bill. And the main thing I'm going with this is unique grain. I think is something that a lot of people are doing. We've already ran into it. There's lots of people that have picked up on the Bloody Butcher and are starting to do more of that. We've seen some of like the Balcone Baby Blue
corn,
that's
yeah.
using some blue corn. We got Monongahela Rye
Purple corn
that's
too.
using different
Yeah.
stuff. We got purple corn,
Got the Wapsie.
the
Wapsie,
Wapsie.
yeah.
So lots of just unique grains that I think people are starting to pick up on. The finishing stuff has been around for a while, and I think that's going to continue. That's always been a big thing in craft whiskey because it's something you can do to kind of make yourself unique. Also, it's a good way to cover up some young whiskey.
You can
'Cause
manipulate
if
the
you're-
spirit a little bit. too.
Exactly. Which if you're a new craft distillery, you kind of need to do that at the start because you're pushing out a lot of young stuff. So you need to, do something to it. But as these craft distilleries now, the craft boom has been going on for a little while. So these craft distilleries are a little bit older, that they're putting out some older stuff. They don't need the finishings as much because of that. And I think they're going to start playing around with grain more as time goes on. So
What grain do you think is? Because obviously this year alone we've gone through quite a bit of different corn, like different variants
lots of
for corn.
corns and a few unique ryes.
Right. So what do you think is next? Do you think we're gonna jump into like different types of rye even more, or
Yeah, I think
wheat?
there'll be more ryes.
Okay.
I also think, and rye in particular, is going regional. You have lots of
Which we called that years ago.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
you
becoming
got
more of a thing.
Lots of these
There's a lot more
Pennsylvania rye, and a
varieties
lot
or varietal
Yeah.
corn that could be utilized. Oh, we look at Journeyman did they used
the
popcorn
popcorn. Yeah,
corn for, and it actually turned out great. But like that's a different thing. Like there's more corn that can be utilized in other things. I'm sure. Seen a lot more malted type stuff too.
exactly.
Different
That's the other
types
thing
of
is
malt.
Malting, I think, is becoming a bigger thing.
I mean, can you malt corn?
Yeah, probably.
You can malt corn. It's just getting it wet. It's just soaking
Have
it.
we seen that?
I've not seen malted
Maybe
corn.
I just made something up.
I've seen malted wheat, malted barley, and
Malted rye.
malted rye.
Yeah.
What about malted
But
corn?
not malted
Could be
corn.
a thing.
So maybe malting, and also I think some like peating. And I think more people will
And
do
different
that.
variations of all they're in,
Yeah.
and then different combinations and stuff. You
Yeah.
make there's still tons of room for like changes
Absolutely.
and variation in the spirit world.
Right. And people care a little less about bourbon than they used to.
It's
So
becoming more of a whiskey
a
thing.
little bit more of a whiskey thing. So I think more people are able to get out there and maybe not play around in the bourbon world, but in the whiskey world. What'd you find there, Nick?
Frey Ranch actually does 100% malted corn bourbon.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's not normal.
This is something that I didn't come up with, but I kind of did.
Actually, you envisioned it.
I'm not gonna say it was me, but I mean,
Right.
come on, guys.
So yeah, that's my vision for what's going to happen in the craft world is more playing around with and advertising more grain.
Different ingredients.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
fun. I think one of the draws and excitement for Little Book is doing that within within containment. And what I mean by that is you're a big distillery, big company, and people know what your flavor is. So you can't really change it up too much and expect people to want to go for your stuff. Little Book doesn't necessarily change the grain type, but it changes enough to where people are like, oh, this is something new. I never thought you could do this. I never thought you could blend this or mix this, which no one else, big name distillery wise, A, is willing to take the risk, or B, could take the risk and people be all right with it. Yeah. But then you dive into these smaller guys that are still trying, the ones that are actually trying, and you've got this new world that they could do whatever the hell they want within just very small parameters, and people will be like, yeah, I'll try it. I'll take a bottle. I think that would be interesting. I think that'd be unique. I'll do that. But then you also have within this world the small guys that want to be the big guys, right? So Not saying that these guys want to be the big guys, but Good Times. Have you ever heard of Good Times? They're like the World Whiskey Society. They don't make anything. They buy up all these different barrels and they finish in all these unique type of, all sourcing, 3-4 blend or 3-4 finishings, but they let them sit and age in shipping containers. That to me screams, as weird as it sounds, that screams Sazerac. That screams big name of like, we're not going to do very much because if we go too far off the path, we might lose a lot. But then you got guys we could go off the path. We can go off the beaten path and we could try something new and it might work. And I feel like we might be at that point. We might be at that point that I think what we all have is we're going off what our predictions are off the beaten path. And I feel like we're at that point.
I think there's a reason to have respect for not risking too much. However, it comes to a point in your life or wherever you're at, where after a while, maybe you've played it safe too long or too much. It's time for, I'm not saying to completely like just, throw yourself to the wind, but there does come a time to take a little risk. And almost even when you fail, you almost rejoice in it because finally doing something a little bit out of my comfort zone or whatever it is, whether that's, the spirits we're going to try or the tobacco we're going to smoke or just choices we're going to make in life. Again, I'm not saying you need to have a healthy respect for outside parameters, but sometimes it's okay to, get a little wild with it, like just have fun. Life is short. Let's have fun without, going too crazy, but let loose, let your hair down.
Exactly. And in the craft world in particular, the whiskey kind of system as a whole is not doing great right now. There are lots of people falling off the whiskey train. The spirits world is kind of falling off. Younger people aren't drinking as much, all that kind of good stuff.
And you don't want to do anything as a new distillery. It's going to completely throw you into bankruptcy.
Right. But at the same time, there's been lots of consolidation and lots of craft distilleries closing. And I think most of that are people that weren't trying something new. They were trying to be Sazerac.
And something else to that point,
Jim.
what I don't want to see, and what I'm afraid of seeing, because we have been seeing it, what I don't want to see is more and more of these really cool companies that are doing well and they're starting to get momentum and then they sell out because they're getting and look, I don't blame them. Look, if I had a family and all of a sudden I'm getting offered a ton of money and I could just go retire for the rest of, and then take my family with me. Like, yeah, sure. Like I get it, like sell out, but on the other hand, like, it's not going to be the same. When you get brought in like that, it's just you're almost just letting them stay where they're at. And that's why they're buying you out, so you don't challenge them eventually down the road.
One of my favorite things, quotes, I guess you can call it, things that was said. We brought up this idea of being bought out, right? Why do you do what you do? Starting the distillery, and Jim made a comment at Liberty Pole that selling out in 5 years, or selling out in general to a big name, was never in the cards.
You got to respect that.
I respect the crud out of that. But one of the reasons why I respect that, I look at them as a whole and what they do. They're not big into the finishings. They do some cool finishings. But when I say they're not big into the finishings, and to go along with your idea of the grain, the number of distilleries, brands that have come out that rely heavily on the finishings and then rely heavily on people spending $200, $300, $400 on their bottles because of the unique finishings, versus the smaller guys that say that was never in the cards. That was never part of the deal. Why we did this. They go for the unique grains that are maybe cheaper or more expensive, but either way, they come out selling per bottle. They sell way cheaper than any other finished product. And to me, I look at that and I go, I support that. And mainly because it's like looking at, we all grew up country, farmers around us. The farmers, they are the struggling compared to the finishing, right? They're doing that for a passion. They're not necessarily doing that because it makes a ton of money. But they enjoy what they plant. They enjoy the time they get to harvest. They enjoy the ins and the outs of that. And while this bottle may not be fantastic, it's a strive towards something more. It's the idea of, if I can play with the grain, if I can play with what grows in the ground, then maybe I could challenge people and their thoughts and their views and their opinions on this, and maybe get a following that says, you know what, I trust you. You've done enough good stuff, enough challenging, but enough promise at the same time with the challenge that I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with that guy.
You can get fans for you can get the fans that are just chasing the spirit and they like it. Those people are also going to have, the big ones like Jim Beam, they don't get this, but the small guys like that are always going to have the people that are more willing to pay more money and go to a local hardware store than Lowe's. And there's a lot of people out there like that. I'm like that. And Steve, you're like that. Nick, I think you're like that. There's a lot of people out there that are like that are never going to change that. I would rather pay a little bit more money and go to a hardware store than the big box store. And those types of people, the craft distilleries like that, even if they get really big, they're not going to lose those types of people. But I tell you what, Jim Beam, they don't have fans like that. You can be a fan of Jim Beam, but you don't go to Jim Beam for that.
For me, I always think back to there's a country music singer. His name is Charles Wesley Godwin. He was a no-namer like 4 years ago.
I think
or
he's
whatever.
still a no-namer for me.
He's still pretty.
Is Wesley the middle name? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw him at Woodlands Tavern down here in Columbus. Kind of hippie-ish. So Woodlands Tavern is not like a country bar.
Yeah, I picture
This
like
is-
Woodlands, like
no,
forest,
this is
woodsy.
a craft cocktail
But
kind
it's a
of place.
country, he's
Okay.
a country music singer?
Yeah, he's a country music singer.
Western or
Western.
Southern?
Western. He's from Virginia, Kentucky.
I like Western country.
Yeah. So he's Appalachian.
Oh, there's a big difference. Southwestern country especially has got to
So when
Oh,
when
hell
I
yeah.
say country, and if I'm talking about me liking it, it's not on the radio. Radio country is pop music with
Right.
a twang.
I would agree, but like, what's
We
what's
actually
Western?
like very or old country like Haggard and freaking outlaw country.
Then there's red dirt country, which is your Texas country.
That's a little bit more banjo and folk.
They went rock. So Nashville country is pop. Red dirt country is rock.
rock with a like hill twang.
And then you have Appalachian country, which that's when you're getting a little bit more bluegrassy. Now you got your fiddle
You're
and banjo.
dancing a jig and you got a fiddle and a banjo.
So
yeah,
this guy is Appalachian, and Tyler Childers is
but
the big
Southwestern
name
is a different thing too.
that people have. Yeah, if you're listening to this and you know anything about any of this kind of stuff, Tyler Childers would be the name that you might know. He's like the most famous of this type of music.
and I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
so
it's
Appalachian.
Appalachian music. He's from the hills of Kentucky. But Charles, I saw him there at Woodlands Tavern, and it's like a back room, like maybe 100 people can be there. It's a very small venue.
So it's like what, 50 Birkenstocks?
Maybe, yeah.
52.
And then about a year later, I saw him at the Bluestone. So he got a lot bigger. Now he's selling out this kind of a bigger place. That's an old church downtown that has been turned into a venue that holds probably 300 people.
Yeah, I've heard of the
or so. It's a really cool place to go see a band, and they have good music that's
It's
like
good acoustics.
not famous, but people know him. And then I saw him open for Luke Bryan at a stadium down in Cincinnati. So I've had the chance to experience this guy in 3 different stages of success. And I will see him again. I'm a big fan of this guy. Amy and I both are. But the reason we're a big fan of him is because we saw him when he was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was. And I've gotten no chance to see him grow into fame. And it's really cool to watch that. And I feel the same way about a lot of these craft distilleries. Like I have the same kind of appreciation for Journeyman or Watershed or Wiggle and Liberty Pole now. But these are people that nobody knows unless they're like really in the crowd.
You got to really be into it. But if you're in, you know.
But as time goes on, more people are going to learn about them.
It's like how many
And
people
I'm
we
gonna
talked to
be able
about
to
still
say-
630 that
Yeah.
are like, oh yeah, those guys. But
Exactly.
you have to be in the
Yeah.
thick of it.
But later on, when they do take off and people start talking about, hey, you've heard things about these guys? I'm like, yeah, I heard about them 5 years ago. Like I'm an original fan.
Yeah, we're the OG.
Yeah. And so I really like the craft world in that, and that being able to be a fan when there's not a lot of fans yet and everything. And that's how I feel about a lot of this stuff.
It was fun about the club. So we have the second chapter of the club, right? We just had a Prince dinner, and we start out with the very typical Sazerac, right? We walk through for year one. We walk through major brands to figure
I
out.
call it the Wonder Years.
Yeah, it is. It's the wonder year. Like trying to figure out like what's your palate? What do you go after? Because you got Sazerac that's weeded, easy, everyday drinker, no thinker. Then you normally end the year with Beam, where it's like in your face. You have no doubt.
Much stronger.
Yeah,
Yep.
you have no doubt this is what I'm drinking. And the other night we had a guy that normally is a big like Saz guy, right?
A Saz.
A Saz guy, yeah.
We're gonna start calling people a Saz.
There's a Saz.
He's a Saz. See?
So he had 2 Knob Creek bottles that he brought.
Oh man, what a good choice.
12 and a barrel pick, like a single barrel pick. And I said, so what's kind of your go-to lately? And he looks at me and goes, well,
To go from Saz to Knob.
yeah,
wow.
literally like pondering. He's like, well, I guess you could say that my palate's starting to my mind is starting to be open.
You think?
Yeah.
That's a big change.
That's a big jump, right?
It's like going from a Prius to a full-size truck.
Those are the guys that are like, you have hope for the craft distillery. If you're jumping that big,
Yeah, that's a big
man, like you don't know yet, but I got something in store for you.
Yeah.
Like he's the guy like halfway through your journey of that country singer, be like, oh, you know him? You're like, yeah.
I'll have to check that
Yeah.
out. That guy. So what are you smoking, Steve?
So I am smoking some Stonehenge Flake. This was one that we had this year, and it's a nice kind of little bit more standard. It's pretty normal. Yep.
I feel like that one and the Blockade Runner. Did we
Blockade
have
Runner?
those
Yep.
twice because we lost 2 episodes?
We may yes. Yeah, I think
Black
you're right.
what?
Yeah.
The what?
Blockade Runner.
Blockade Runner.
Blockade Runner.
Yeah,
yeah.
Blockade Runner. I feel like those 2 we
Yeah.
had twice because
Blockade
we lost
Runner, I
them.
know we did. I
Okay.
think this one was the other
Okay.
one too. Was our other lost episode. My tobacco journey has been widened quite a bit throughout this podcast. So I have always I've enjoyed a pipe for a long time, but I'm kind of where I was with whiskey now at the start of the podcast is where I am with tobacco now. So at the start of the podcast, I always said that I could tell a good whiskey from a bad whiskey, but I couldn't tell a great whiskey from a good whiskey. I couldn't like piece those things together. And tobacco, I'm kind of the same way. I really do not have a tobacco palate. I know when I'm smoking it if I like it, but I don't know why. And I don't really know how to piece that stuff together yet. So that's kind of something that I'm going to be working on this year, is trying to figure out what my tobacco palate is. Like I know now I like an English. I don't really like a aromatic. I know I like Virginias, but I don't really know why. So I'm going to like try to kind of piece that together a little bit. So that's going to be my tobacco journey this year, is really trying to go down to the basics. So I'll have a lot of like straight Virginias, straight Burleys.
I was gonna say
And all that,
we should pull
so
the
that-
components out. I should get some blending tobaccos and we should smoke them straight
Yeah.
and see where you're at. And maybe we can end up with making our own blend or something. That's the way that I've decided what I like. You know what I mean? Is a way to figure out, okay, smoke these things on their own. Then I started blending my own. And what ratios do I like? And then let's try variations of those. That Stonehenge Flake is something that I hope they come back out with.
Are they done with for now?
There was a Stonehenge Flake, and then it did really well. They got rid of it. They brought that out. That was a re-release back in, God, I don't know when.
17
is
is
that
the
2017?
bottom.
2017.
GL-piece or-
Yeah, GL-piece,
Yeah,
GL-piece,
which
yep.
is it's made by Cornell and Deal, but GL-piece is the blender. He's legendary, and that did really, really well. And then they again got rid of it. There is a bulk. It's a Lakeland-esque tobacco. So there's a bulk version of that called Louisiana Flake, which is impossible to get. Even the bulk, it's impossible. Like I got an email alert, hey, it's in stock. 3 minutes after I clicked on it, it was gone. There you go. So they're saying they might come back out with that, but that one is a chocolate topped flake that has been painstakingly produced. It's got Lakeland-esque qualities. So if anybody knows, Steve, you probably know it's floral notes. You don't get that with any other pipe tobacco. It's when you think Turkish Delight, that floral kind of candy. This isn't candy, but it's those floral notes. Like think flowers. It comes through on the taste, not on the nose. And some people call it soapy or potpourri. I like it. Some people don't. But that's got a chocolate, kind of a chocolate topping. It's got some Virginia stuff going on. It's got some Perique stuff going on. It's got some, I can't remember what the blend is exactly, but it's very cool. You can't get that at all right now. Like it's just, which there was a time when that was available and I did buy one or two tins of it. I should have bought more because it took me years to open it. And we finally opened it together on the podcast. And I was like blown away, like, oh crud, this stuff's so good. Now you can't get it. So I will be watching when that thing drops because I know Cornell and Deal will come back out with it or GLPs in this case. But I'm going to buy a crap load of it because you can't even get the bulk version.
It's a Virginia. It's layered with some Perique and a touch of Burley. That's what it says on the side. Yep.
And it's got like a chocolate topping.
And then steamed, hot pressed, matured. Doesn't say anything about a topping, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
It's very cocoa. Oh, you taste that? It's more like a dry cocoa powder. And they have a Bob's chocolate flake, which is kind of similar. I've had that as well. But it's like this cocoa, like real chocolate, not fake milk chocolate, like a real cocoa. And God, it's just something different. It's good. And it's very on the savory side of dessert. And it smells just like a freaking man's tobacco.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does.
It's a good smell. Put hair on your chest. Yeah. I'm branching out more. You're getting more like distilling
I'm
down.
narrowing down.
And then you'll branch out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting this coming year for the podcast. Maybe we will smoke some straight tobaccos.
What's interesting is we all thought of very different things when we heard what we're doing and grabbed very different bottles. But I feel like I could comprise it all down into one idea, even with the pipe tobaccos for both you and Chris. And that is a challenging growth, which seems kind of hokey for like, oh, every year we want to be challenged. But when I think of like a challenging growth for what we've been talking about is grabbing the pipe tobacco that you're like, I don't know if this is for me. And then trying to be like, well, okay, that either yay or nay, or here's what I liked about it.
But at least you give it a try.
Right. Grabbing the craft bottle that you're like, I don't know, like, look, it seems a little odd. Like they're using some weird grains in that guy, but giving it a try and going, yes, this is what I like about it. No, this is what I don't. Or Americans taking something that's cheap like Canadian whiskey and actually doing something with it.
Yeah.
Doing something with it. We're like, got it. We could actually present Canadian whiskey in a good light.
I think, I don't know how old you are. I don't know where you are in your life, what stage you're in. But it's like, for me, at least in my point, it's don't be afraid to be embarrassed. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Don't be afraid to try new things. Look, I actually like being proved wrong at this point in my life because I'm surprised. And that's a welcome thing. It's not the same old, how boring would it be to be right all the time?
It's pretty nice.
But really, being surprised for me anymore is really kind of like a really cool experience. Right. Like, because you get to a certain point where you are right all the time and you've done it and you've done it and you've done it. And you even say like, well, don't do this because it's going to be like that. How often does something turn out the way you expected and you're just like, yep, see, so it's all coming, that's so boring.
But that's the time you want to be right is when you're guessing and then it turns out you're right. You're like, oh, I was right.
Yeah.
But the times that you're right all the time,
I'm more excited, but I'm even more excited when I'm proved wrong anymore because there's only so many times you can say I told you so. And who gives a crap,
I'm kind of hoping for a couple of good duds this year.
Because you went out on a limb.
Yep.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
I think we're gonna
fresh year.
We're really aiming for the craft stuff, which means that with craft, it is less reliable. Like there are people out there that are new to this.
It could be a lot more quote unquote offensive.
Yeah. Maybe not even in the good way.
Yeah, a lot. Sometimes not even in a good way.
Right.
But we tried something different today. Yeah.
And so, like this thing that I'm drinking here is not a great bottle.
Can I try some of this bottle?
Yeah, you can.
It's very do we need to shake it?
I know. I already have.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
You know what, Steve? That is the most I've seen you leave in a glass.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought you were done.
It's like a fresh pour on that.
It's very corn. And there's lots of
like an Arnold
pieces
Palmer.
in it. It does look like an Arnold Palmer. And so it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I can kind of see maybe what they're aiming for or like where they're going to go
the
with
mark.
this. It just isn't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're just working on it and they're
Yeah,
not just like, this
exactly.
is it. They're not going to pepper. They won't want to pepper it.
Oh, it's not. This is not a pepper. This is
It's buttery.
yeah,
It's very different.
yeah.
And like I think I've decided I don't like it, but I can see where some people would. Like I could see there being some things.
Let me ask
there.
you this.
Yeah.
How much was it?
I don't know, but it wasn't a lot.
Okay, it wasn't like a $60
less than
bottle or
$50 bucks.
Wait. What's funny is hearing Steve, again, we're getting into our 6th year. Okay. That is not something you would have
Yeah,
said before.
No,
No.
yeah.
Just throwing it back because he's like, not a lot, less than $50.
Yeah.
That would have been like, Steve would have been like
But
$20 back in the
Not
day.
a lot of stuff under
Anymore,
like 30.
inflation has gone up.
So,
Inflation has gone up. But
yeah,
but what you used to think is not a lot was
No.
never close to $50.
that is true.
We gave you a lot of good $50 bottles, and you're like, that's a little pricey. But
Yeah,
way back
right.
in the day, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to hear you say that. Like you've come to the dark side.
It's
Yeah.
moved. Yeah,
Yeah, you were
the
definitely.
line has moved.
You're not a Jedi anymore.
Yeah.
But what I love about that idea is, being challenged. It took a decent amount of you to like, a decent time and amount of you to be like, I think I don't like it. That's
It's one of those. I tend to believe that there are not a lot of bottles out there that are actually bad bottles. They may not be for me, but I don't really think that they're bad bottles.
You're an optimist.
I am absolutely an optimist,
especially when it comes to this.
And so now I do know that there are some, like, there are just things that are too young. And like, there are very few people that are going to like that. But it's usually an age thing, or it's not enough time in the oak. That's really usually where it's like, oh, this is bad. And that's why.
This
and
is
now
just
maybe
junk.
it can be better.
There is some stuff that's junk out there.
Yeah.
Fistful of
So I'm like, this is too young. And also it probably needs, I don't know if it's 100% corn or not, but it needs something else. It's just missing something. It's pretty flat.
It's interesting that flat is never a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just all the way around.
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
just
heard
not,
somebody be
not
like
great.
flat in a good way.
Yeah, right,
Like-
exactly. Yeah. But it's like, oh, this is a good starting point though. Like there's enough here that it's like, okay, this could be something if we changed it. And then there's other things that are just like, yeah, this is just bad. And so
Some
yeah.
things are just bad, but I'm still glad I tried it because
Yeah,
it just
and
made
now I
me
know.
better about,
Yeah,
you know.
and now I know that
Yeah.
this, whatever this thing is,
You almost don't.
I don't like that.
You know what? You can't appreciate the good stuff without trying the bad stuff.
That's right.
Because otherwise, it's all good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's all good.
Mhm.
You can't have light without the dark.
That's right.
Better to have loved and lost than to never loved at all.
Happy New Year's.
Happy
To
New Year's.
2026,
Here's
guys.
to
Cheers.
2026.
If you're listening to this on New Year's Day, please let us know what you cracked. What are you drinking?
Yeah, you know, let us
you know,
know.
I
It'd be
wanna
cool.
know.
You know what? It would be cool to hear what other people are drinking. And
Right.
actually, it might give us something to try.
A little peek behind the curtain is that we're changing kind of how we do our recordings now. We're recording a little bit more often, whereas we used to like just hammer out a bunch of episodes.
And that means hammer. These 6 hours of drinking is a lot.
I don't know how much you guys could tell, but we could tell the last episode of the night.
We could tell it. Yeah. We tried very hard to make it like we didn't drink for 6 hours straight, but
There was
what
a
we-
chance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we're recording a little more often and a little less at a time. But that also means
But we're
that we
having the
could-
same amount of fun.
We could have maybe some conversations with you guys and have like ask some questions of you
Yeah,
guys.
I would love
and
to
do
like ask, like answer questions or talk about like if somebody makes a comment on
Right.
something. That would be kind of cool. I always like hear that on videos. I'm like, that is kind of cool. I never thought about it, but yeah, it would be cool like for someone to ask us something. And for I mean, we're not gonna give you like maybe the right answer, but we're gonna give you our answer.
We're gonna
Like,
give you an
We will
answer.
BS our way through any question you ask us.
I'm always look. I'm always gonna say what I think.
Yeah.
Everybody already knows that, whether it's
Exactly.
right or wrong. It's-
Yes. So at the top of the show notes there's a little button that says send us a text. So
It
go
works.
ahead and-
Trust me, it
go ahead
works.
and do
Yeah.
that and just ask us a question. We'll answer
'cause
you.
we have a whole nother year
Yeah,
of this.
At least.
at
and
least.
Steve's gonna be smoking straight Perique,
That's right.
which is gonna be like holding on to your socks because that is.
You know, if we
something-
go with that idea, we're going to be drinking straight moonshine.
we should.
Yeah.
We haven't done that on the
Let's do some
podcast.
white dog.
Yeah.
Let's
We
do some
should.
straight moonshine.
Yeah.
That is whiskey.
Yeah,
It
that's
is
whiskey.
straight rye, straight corn, straight barley. That way we know what it should.
Just straight, as long as it's not the other way.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, all.
Happy New Year.
To 2026.
to 2026.
26.
Cheers. Thank
you for listening to the podcast. If you want more great content and other perks, be sure to support the show by clicking the link in the show notes. We can be reached on our website, whiskeychaserspod.com, with any ideas for the show. Thanks again.